Welcome back to CoinTalk Podcast. You know we love to dig into the nitty-gritty of what's happening in crypto, and today we're diving deep into a potential game changer for U.S. crypto regulation. It's a story about a possible reunion, a regulatory reunion that is. The SEC and the CFTC, those two big names in U.S. financial regulation.
Yeah, those guys.
Well, they might just be getting back together, and we're here to break down what it all means. So first things first, for anyone new to CoinTalk Podcast, let's quickly recap who these players are. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. They're like the guardians of the stock market, making sure everything's on the up and up. And then we have the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. They're more focused on commodities, things like gold, oil, wheat.
And those interesting things called derivatives.
Derivatives, right. Contracts based on the future price of an asset, which can include, you guessed it, cryptocurrencies.
Now, this is where things get a little tricky with crypto.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole sometimes, right?
Exactly. Because some cryptocurrencies, depending on their structure and how they're used, well, they could potentially fall under both the SEC's and the CFTC's watch.
That's what makes this potential reunion so fascinating. We're talking about bringing back a joint advisory committee that's been on hiatus for over a decade. It's called the CFTC-SEC Advisory Committee on Emerging Regulatory Issues. Quite a mouthful.
It was formed back in 2010, right after the 2008 financial crisis. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Exposed some major gaps in how we regulate our financial system.
So this committee was meant to help the SEC and the CFTC, work together.
Make sure they were both on the same page when it came to new financial risks.
Like the whole cryptocurrency explosion, right?
Exactly. It was like a bridge between the two, ensuring they weren't tripping over each other.
But then, back in 2014, they decided to dissolve the committee.
Yeah, I guess they felt like they had things under control.
So what's changed? Why are we suddenly talking about a reunion?
Well, a lot has happened since 2014. The crypto world has exploded. We've had DeFi, stablecoins, NFTs. It's become clear that crypto is here to stay and needs a more unified approach to regulation.
So who's pushing for this reunion?
In 2024, the acting chair of the CFTC, Caroline Pham, made a pretty strong call for it.
She's been a big advocate for collaboration in the crypto space.
She sees it as the key to creating a regulatory framework that's both effective and fosters innovation.
It's not just happening within the regulatory agencies either. We're seeing some interesting developments in the political arena as well.
Absolutely. David Sachs, President Trump's newly appointed AI and crypto czar, he's made it clear he wants to work with Congress on legislation related to crypto market structure.
So we've got the CFTC, the SEC, and now the government all starting to align on the need for clearer crypto regulations.
And there's another interesting wrinkle to this story. The Trump administration has issued a directive requiring all government agencies to identify all existing laws that could apply to cryptocurrencies.
They have until the end of February 2025 to submit their findings, which is just around the corner.
It's a sign that crypto is finally getting the serious attention it deserves from policymakers.
So much momentum building here.
It's like everyone's finally waking up to the fact that crypto is a major force in the financial world.
And it's time to figure out how to regulate it effectively.
Now, within the SEC itself, we're seeing some differing viewpoints on how to approach this. One commissioner, Hester Pierce, she's been very vocal about her innovation-friendly stance. She's even called herself a freedom maximalist when it comes to regulation.
That's quite a statement.
Yeah, but she's also made it clear she's not a crypto industry advocate. Her main concern is striking that balance between fostering innovation and protecting investors.
A delicate balance indeed. But before we dive into the potential implications of this reunion, for all of you watching CoinTalk Podcast on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. And if you're really enjoying this deep dive, share it with your friends. Let's spread the knowledge. Now back to the matter at hand. This potential reunion between the SEC and the CFTC, what could it actually mean for the crypto industry as a whole?
That's the million-dollar question, and that's what we're going to explore right now.
It's where things get really interesting. One of the biggest potential benefits of this collaboration is the possibility of finally getting some clear, consistent guidelines for the crypto industry.
It's been a bit of a wild west out there. Different exchanges operating under different rules, lots of uncertainty about which cryptocurrencies fall under which agency's jurisdiction.
Makes it tough for businesses to operate with confidence, right?
Absolutely. And it can scare away investors who are worried about the regulatory risks.
It's like trying to build a house without knowing the building codes. A recipe for disaster.
A unified regulatory framework could provide much-needed stability and predictability. It could encourage more institutional investment, help crypto go mainstream.
That would be a huge step forward.
Mm.
But of course, like with anything, there are always potential downsides to consider.
Of course, some people worry that overly burdensome regulations could stifle innovation.
Crypto is still a young industry. It needs room to experiment and grow.
It's a balancing act, finding that sweet spot between protecting investors and allowing for innovation to flourish.
Like trying to grow a delicate plant.
Exactly. Too much water, it drowns. Too little, it withers.
And then there's the potential for unintended consequences. If regulations focus too much on centralized exchanges, it could push more activity towards decentralized platforms, which are harder to regulate.
And if regulations are seen as too restrictive, it could drive innovation overseas.
That would hurt the growth of the U.S. crypto industry.
It's not just about creating regulations, it's about creating the right regulations.
Ones that foster a healthy and innovative ecosystem while safeguarding investors.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
And that's why it's so important to have open and honest conversations about these issues.
Which is what we aim to do here on CoinTalk Podcast.
We want to help you, our viewers, understand this evolving landscape and make informed decisions about your involvement in the crypto space. So before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, we'd love to hear from you. Head over to the comment section on our YouTube channel, CoinTalk Podcast. Let us know your thoughts. Is this renewed collaboration a good thing? What are your biggest hopes and concerns? Let's keep the conversation going.
You know, one of the most interesting parts of this is how this shift could change how we think about cryptocurrencies in the US.
For sure. Right now, there's this big debate about whether certain cryptocurrencies should be called securities or commodities or even something completely different.
Yeah.
It makes things confusing for businesses and investors alike.
Absolutely. If the SEC and CFTC can agree on how to classify different cryptocurrencies, it would be a huge step forward.
Like finally having a clear roadmap.
Right. Exactly. Imagine you could easily see if a specific token is under the SEC, the CFTC, or maybe even a brand new regulatory framework just for digital assets.
That would make things so much easier for everyone.
Businesses could operate with confidence, investors could make smarter decisions. It's a win-win.
And it would probably lead to a more level playing field too, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right now, some companies are hesitant to get into crypto because the rules are so unclear.
Makes sense. Who wants to jump into a game where they don't know all the rules?
Exactly. Clear guidelines would attract more trustworthy players, leading to a stronger and more mature industry.
It's like laying a strong foundation for a skyscraper.
You got it. You need that solid base to support growth and innovation.
And speaking of innovation, another area where this collaboration could have a big impact is with crypto exchanges.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Remember we talked about how different exchanges follow different rules and regulations right now?
It's a patchwork system.
Exactly.
Right.
But if we had a unified regulatory framework for exchanges, it could help protect investors from scams and manipulation.
Remember what happened with platforms like DX Screener?
Oh yeah, it became a breeding ground for bad actors.
Clearer rules could help prevent situations like that, making the crypto market a safer place for everyone.
Makes sense. And it could also encourage fair competition between exchanges.
Right now, some exchanges might have an edge just because they're in a place with looser rules.
So a standardized approach would level the playing field and lead to a more innovative exchange landscape.
Exactly. But of course, we have to be realistic here. There are potential downsides too.
Always two sides to every coin, right?
One concern is whether the SEC and CFTC can actually get past their differences in how they approach things.
It's like those old married couples who've been bickering for years.
The SEC has always been more cautious, taking things slow and avoiding risks.
While the CFTC has been more open to new ideas and less hands-on.
So blending those two styles won't be easy.
And even if they do find common ground, there's always a chance the crypto industry itself pushes back.
That's true. Some people in the crypto world are actually wary of too much government involvement.
They're worried that strict regulations could stifle the innovation that makes crypto so unique.
And we can't forget about the wild card of politics.
Oh yeah, depending on who's in power, we could see pressure to either speed up or slow down the regulations.
Which would create even more uncertainty in the market.
It's a complex situation with a lot of factors at play.
But here's the key takeaway for our CoinTalk podcast viewers. We're at a pivotal moment for crypto.
The choices made by regulators will have a huge impact on the future of this industry.
So stay informed, join the conversation, and make your voice heard.
Exactly. Let your elected officials know what kind of regulatory environment you want for crypto.
This is your chance to help shape the future of this exciting technology.
So as we get ready for the final part of our deep dive, let's focus on the individual investor.
Good idea.
What does all of this mean for someone who's just starting to explore crypto?
Yeah. What are the potential benefits and risks they need to be aware of as these regulations change?
That's what we'll be discussing next.
But before we do, make sure to subscribe to CoinTalk Podcast on YouTube and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode.
And while you're at it, why not give this video a thumbs up and share it with your crypto-curious friends? Okay, so we've covered the big picture stuff, but let's bring it down to earth. What does this all mean for the average person who's maybe just starting to explore crypto?
Well, for those everyday investors, this potential shift in regulation could actually be a good thing.
Really?
Yeah, more clarity and consistent enforcement could make crypto feel less like a gamble and more like a regular financial market.
That's what a lot of people have been wanting, right?
Exactly. When it comes to your money, you want to know there are rules to protect you and that those rules are being followed.
Makes sense. Nobody wants to feel like they're playing a rigged game.
Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty, which can scare off new investors.
Yeah, it can feel intimidating.
But a more stable regulatory environment could make people feel more confident about investing in crypto.
Knowing there's a system in place to protect them.
Exactly. And remember we talked about how more regulation could attract bigger investors like institutions.
Right, the big fish.
When those players enter the market, it can bring more stability to prices.
Which is good news for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, volatility is one of the biggest worries for people who are new to crypto.
It's exciting, but it can also be nerve-wracking to see your investments swing up and down so much.
For sure. But here's the thing, regulation is a double-edged sword.
How so?
Well, it can bring stability and protection, but it could also stifle innovation and limit how much the industry can grow.
It's all about finding the right balance, right?
Exactly. It's like trying to train a wild horse.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You want to harness its power, but you don't want to break its spirit.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the takeaway for investors?
Stay informed, do your research, and understand the risks and rewards of investing in crypto.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Exactly. Crypto is still young, and it can be unpredictable. So always invest responsibly.
Great advice. Now, before we wrap things up, let's zoom out for a second and think about the global implications.
This collaboration between the SEC and CFTC could signal a wider trend of more regulation for crypto around the world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You think the U.S. is setting a precedent?
It's definitely possible. If the U.S. takes a more active role in regulating crypto, other countries might follow suit.
That could lead to more standardized rules across the globe.
And maybe even closer cooperation between different countries' regulatory bodies.
Wow. It's incredible to think how much crypto has grown in such a short time.
It's gone from a niche interest to a major player on the global financial stage.
And the next few years will be crucial in determining its future.
Absolutely. The outcome of this potential regulatory shift in the U.S. will have a ripple effect worldwide.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. I hope this deep dive has given everyone watching CoinTalk Podcast a better understanding of this potential SEC and CFTC reunion and what it could mean for the future of crypto.
As always, we want to hear from you. Head over to the comments section on our YouTube channel, CoinTalk Podcast, and let us know what you think.
Is this a step in the right direction?
Yeah.
What are your hopes and concerns? We want to keep this conversation going.
And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more crypto insights, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes.
Thanks for joining us on CoinTalk Podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the amazing world of crypto.